Any comic reader would love to see their favorite characters engage in some friendly competition, regardless of who is involved. Unfortunately, Superman and the Flash have such a dynamic that it's easy to see where their feuds would come from. The former is the Man of Steel who possesses speed as one of his many abilities, while the latter is known as the fastest man alive. Fans have witnessed numerous clashes between the two throughout comic history. Though the superheroes have piqued our interest, this video contains everything you didn't know about Flash and Superman. Let's dive into the video to know more. Number 10. Enough motivation could be the difference between Superman and Barry. The difference between Superman, it's possible to make a convincing case that Superman needs a little extra push to defeat the Flash in a race. The speed difference between the Flash and Superman is well known. This may have been the case during the prior charity competition to convince Luthor to donate $1 billion. It's possible that Superman was searching deeper inside of himself to find something he wouldn't find under normal circumstances because he was considering the countless children he could assist by defeating Barry. One of the purest internal drives in the superhero genre is what drives Clark to do what he does. Number 9. A mind-controlled Flash is defeated by Superman. In a sense, Superman outran the Flash when he saves the speedster from Kryptonian mind control technology. In 2011, when Superman's series was airing, Boulder, Colorado was raced by a fast-moving blur. The blur is building Kryptonian structures quickly. The Flash, who is under the influence of a headband and forced to imitate Krypton structures, is revealed to be the culprit by Superman. Despite being the only one who might catch him, he makes every effort possible to save Barry. It isn't a race in the conventional sense because of the circumstances, but it is a brilliant illustration of Superman's metahuman talents. Number 8. Superman has his super senses to choose the best route, and the Flash faces faster opponents. In terms of speed, logistics are equally as crucial as everything else. Although Superman can fly, his extraordinary senses are much more crucial in this race. Superman's ability to move rapidly may not initially seem to depend on his super senses, but upon closer examination, it becomes clear that they do. The Flash cannot match Superman's ability to plot his trip thousands of perhaps millions of miles in advance. Superman has better hearing than practically anyone on Earth, which allows him to hear and locate everyone around him. As a result, he can pick a route that allows him to move as swiftly and easily as possible. When fighting the quickest imaginable, the Flash is used to employ speed in a number of ways. First, the Flashes are aware of how to defeat opponents who, like Zoom, have greater speed-based powers. Their DNA makes them superhuman, since many of their confrontations are timed events. A Flash learns to think swiftly. Number 7. Superman can fly, but for Flash, obstacles mean nothing. One of the simplest ways to tell who is faster is to look at how they move most of the time. While Superman hovers above it, the Flash runs on the ground, which can make a big impact. In addition, Superman can dodge obstacles more readily in flight, which has traditionally been a considerably speedier means of transportation for many reasons. Superman can accelerate far more swiftly than a runner and has very little to avoid in the air. Superman, unlike the Flash, can also use parabolic trajectories to take advantage of the Earth's curvature. Flying through the air has some advantages, but the Flash's auxiliary abilities more than make up for most of them. Obstacles are a good illustration. Flash can overcome the disadvantages in these situations since he has several options. Flash can achieve amazing speeds in a city in a couple of seconds. Besides the video, the question of who would win the race between Flash and Superman has been debated since the character's inception. So who do you think is the fastest, Superman or the Flash? Let us know your views in the comment section below. Moving on, number 6. The Flash has more victories than Superman. Throughout their decades of appearing together in DC Comics, Superman and the Flash have raced each other 10 times, including both friendly and life-threatening situations. While both are two of DC's greater superheroes, the Flash excels at speed despite being one of Superman's many strong suits, resulting in the former having the majority of wins. Superman won twice, Flash 5 times, and there were 3 ties. The Flash's 5 victories also include races with Wally and Jay in the lead. Number 5. Several races were run for charity. Several of the races, like the initial one, were done for charity, in the friendliest of cases between the two competing against each other. With Lex Luthor appearing in one of the following races on their own, Superman and Lex Luthor have a well-known rivalry. If Superman wins, the villain promises to donate $1 billion to construct new homes for impoverished children. But knowing Luthor, he was only doing it to spite Superman. However, once the Man of Steel learns of this plan, he motivates him to win the race in order to help those children and force Luthor to keep his word. Number 4. The first race between Superman and the Flash took place in the 1960s. The friendly rivalry between Superman and the Flash dates back to Superman number 199, which was published in 1967. The idea behind the two superheroes racing each other was for a United Nations fundraiser. To win, Superman or the Flash had to race 3 times around the world, with American-European gangs betting on Superman and the Flash respectively. With rival gangs competing behind the scenes, they each set traps for the opposing hero in order to tip the odds in their favor. However, this race ends in a tie because the two agreed to cross the finish line simultaneously. Number 3. Superman travels at superluminal speeds, but Flash could break through time and space barriers. The world is familiar with Superman. There are a few causes for this, but the most crucial one is also the most obvious. He personally saved many of the locals. That could be accomplished by exceeding at the speed of light, which is considerably easier than most people realize. When required, Superman can cross galaxies in a flash and move through space at speeds that are inconceivable to most people. As swiftly and conveniently as most people drive to the local store, he has traversed the entire universe. The cosmic treadmill which Barry Allen created allows Flashes to use their speed for universal voyages and time travel, making him the first person to cross the multiversal barrier. Unfortunately, the cosmic treadmill is inaccessible to Superman. The quickest Flashes don't need it for either task. Number 2. Barry Allen wasn't the only Flash who competed against Superman. Superman has a well-known friendship with Batman in comics, but the Barry Allen iteration of the Flash is also close to him. While Barry is the most well-known version of the Scarlet Speedster, he isn't the only one who has raced the Man of Steel. Superman has been in a high-speed race with the majority of those who have held the Flash mantle, with varying degrees of success. In the 2016 television series The Flash, Superman must capture both Wally West and Barry in order to stop potential harmful Speed Force waves. Unfortunately, the last son of Krypton failed to apprehend either of them. He also lost to Jay Garrick, the original Flash. Number 1. Wally West has caused the most problems for Superman, and even Jay Garrick technically cheated him. The quickest Scarlet Speedster according to canon is the Flash played by Wally West. In a literal sense, this establishes Wally as the title rightful holder. This logically implies that Wally has been one of those to provide Superman with the most difficulty in a race. Only Superman has had any chance of catching up to Barry and Wally when they were in the middle of a potentially disastrous chase. Unfortunately, neither of the Scarlet Speedsters can outrun the Man of Steel, but Wally was particularly affected. In addition, Jay Garrick defeated Superman. One might contend that the first Speedster technically cheated, depending on how a fan sees the two characters' skills. Superman and the Flash were both vying to save Wally. Therefore, their efforts were for a larger good. The caveat was that Wally's aging curse would pass to whoever caught up with him to save him. While Jay and Clark dispute about who should give up anything for Wally, the Man of Tomorrow is slowed down by Jay's usage of the Speed Force to drain his kinetic energy. The two heroes would have reciprocated each other's kindness, but Jay cheated in the most honorable manner. This is all about the 10 things you never knew about the Flash and Superman. So with that, do you have any friendly rivalries in your life? Let us know the story in the comments below, and make sure to subscribe for more.